Welcome to Power of X-Men, the podcast where we review every single issue of the revolutionary, groundbreaking, epic mutant masterpiece known as Morrison's New X-Men. I am the Uncanny Dayspring.
And I am the new Flinkman.
Flink, I have been in such a bad mood for the last 48 hours because...
Gosh, I can't imagine why.
Bitch, well, first of all, thank you for messaging me first thing Friday morning to let me know that Psylocke was on pre-order at Target.com. I woke up like 3 minutes before the pre-order, saw your text message, went on Target.com. I could not get her.
Listen, you have to be, if you want to get these Target exclusives, which, by the way, you missed Jean, too, so, like...
I did miss Jean, but Jean was still available by the time I got to her.
Oh, right, that's because Jean is not that in demand. I got it. Thank you for confirming what I already knew. But, like, if you want these, like, super in-demand Target ML exclusives, you have to be... Okay, first of all, you have to be 5 minutes early. You have to have a device on one hand on the Target app searching and refreshing, and then on the other you have to be searching for like links from like Preternia or Toy Shiz or like one of those sources that post the links as soon as they're available, and like just whichever comes first, the search or you know your source coming through for you. This time for me, it was actually the search. The search is the first time I think that's happened. So,
what did you search?
So what I see, again, you have to be like completely ready for this, because I went and I copy and pasted the exact text for the Wolverine versus Silver Samurai 2-pack, just subbed in Psylocke and Thanos, and that brought it up like immediately. So I managed to get in right as they went up. And listen, I don't want anybody to come for me, because I'm not a scalper. I am not buying multiple to sell for a profit. But I got three separate orders for Psylocke versus Thanos. So myself, you, and my office gay Damien.
Thank you, because you actually ended up getting it for me, which thank you so much. But no, I mean, listen, I'm not new to these Target exclusives. I just act like an idiot. Okay, wait. They have got it immensely harder. Maybe it's because I'm a boomer now, and it's like, I have to do this online? What do you mean? Like, I prefer being at Target at 7 in the morning, running to the toy aisle and getting my figure. I prefer that. I'm not this entire thing of reserving it at the store or these pre-order links. Like, no. I will say, though,
it's 2025, girly. This is what we have to do now.
I will say, though, that like perhaps I should have been a bit more aggressive. It's not that I was like, I thought that as long as I got there within 3 minutes, it would have been fine. But clearly not. This is a problem, though. This is a problem because like the Walgreens was kind of like when we had those Walgreens, like Mystique, Danny, the stuff for Cuckoos, those were kind of like a pain to track down, but they were trackable. Like, this is just impossible. Like, you don't even get a chance to like even do a pre-order and within minutes. I don't know.
Listen, I have the exact opposite experience of you. I've gotten everything I've wanted out of these Target exclusives.
Well, fuck you!
So, you know, eventually someday I'll probably be cursed, and I'm like jinxing myself right now, but my track record on these Target exclusives, showing up 5 minutes early and having my 2 devices running, you just have to be like quadruple, triple prepared. Like, it is a shame that it is so hard and that you can't just roll up, you know, within the first 10 minutes of it being on sale and be guaranteed one. But part of me feels like these exclusives are so much, they make less of them now, because if you think about how many, you know, were literally covered in dust at Walgreens for years, the same ones, and then you got like how many MLs were showing up at like Ross and like Ollie's and things like that. So I think they just have to make these runs smaller now and are just sort of using their best guess as to how many to make. Yeah. Plus Target wants to hold back some inventory for in-store, so...
I agree. Listen, I I think I don't listen. I'm happy to talk about the toy industry and how these things work because you see those comments where people are like, "Oh, fuck Hasbro for doing this," etc. I mean, like as you know, we've both worked on the sales end of things and distribution. It's whatever these account reps want. It is Target's like field to do it. Hasbro just wants to make sure that these figures get out the door somehow. They have to make these profitable. So I'm not as angry about them being like Target exclusives because maybe their inventory is like overstocked, but I just wish that I blame the Target rep for Hasbro. That's who I blame, which is like landing page has Marvel Legends, Psylocke, and we're gonna keep the pre-order window for at least an hour because it is absurd that it is sold out within minutes. And again, listen, I can make peace with the fact because you got me one, so I'm gonna count my victory and like move on in life. But like it kind of put me in a bad mood in the way that I could not buy Warbird that day, only because like I really am looking forward to this figure. She's been Marvel versus Capcom is a huge hallmark of my fandom, and like I don't want to give spoilers for our Marvel Legends list this year. Unless I hold this figure and she's really different, she's gonna be in my top. She's gonna be in my top.
I mean, she looks beautiful, so I'm not, not only is it a much needed update to of an A-list super popular X-Men character like Psylocke, but she's coming paired with Thanos, who is one of the biggest characters in all of Marvel these days, thanks to the MCU. So it's no mystery why this was so popular. Paired with the MVC fans like you. Okay, we've got Laura.
Have you seen her?
I have her, of course.
I asked if you've seen her. I didn't ask if you had her. We haven't talked about this. This is weird that we haven't spoken about this.
I mean, she's a great figure. I love her. Can I just be honest though? I don't know that I didn't necessarily need a new X-Force Laura. I mean, she looks great.
Careful. They're going to come for you. Careful. They will kill you.
I love
They will drag your name through the dirt.
Fine. Do it. Who's they? I'm not scared of they. Come on. Come at the new Flinkman. The new Flinkman doesn't care. The old Flinkman might have. No, I mean, she's a great figure. But for me, I was okay with the X-Force X-23 that we already had. And if we're talking about wanting to, complete a display, we would have needed an X-Force Wolfsbane to round out that team. So the completionist in me is like, we could have gotten a Wolfsbane instead of a Laura, but the Laura is a lovely figure.
She is such a good figure. I mean, the reason why I got her is because I think her and Psylocke will be in my top this year. But I agree with you because like my main qualm was we don't need another X-Force X-23 because we already she was a peg warmer back in like 2018, 2017, whenever the figure came out. She was at Dwayne Reed. Like I remember her being a peg warmer at Dwayne Reed. And when the leak list sort of mentioned her in Warpath, I was like, I don't think we need this. And people got so angry at me, being like, oh, this is a great way to get figures that people didn't get before. I'm like, but it is within recent history that this figure came out. You know what I mean? This isn't like,
widely available on eBay.
Like with Warpath, like I agree. Like Warpath, like you're not going to track down that face off from 15 years ago.
But he needed an update.
Yeah. So it's like, but like I agree with you. Like, can we get Elixir? Can we get Wolfsbane? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many from that run, or maybe like a dedicated Celine figure because Necrosha was so big.
Yeah.
So that's why, like, I was just like, geez, like, are we going back to this era that not many people are talking about? Like, we've gotten 2 X-Force Lauras, but we have not gotten a new X-Men Jean or Emma or Cyclops. That's a pretty big deal.
So. Yeah, I mean, Hasbro hasn't given us any new X-Men character. Well, they gave us Zorn. But that was fucking 18
Zorn? Wait, so we've gotten Zorn and we got a Wolverine, but like
Wolverine that's like a million, like 20 years ago, more than 20 years ago at this point. So
and Phantom X, we got Phantom X.
Oh, well, yes, but he's in his X-Force costume.
Oh, very new. Okay.
So
listen.
Listen. Right. Like my last thing on these X-Force Marvel Legends is: do you have Archangel yet?
Yes, I do.
Okay, he is amazing, but you know what drives me absolutely insane
Tell me.
is that the newer X-Force Logan, the new Warpath, and the new X-23 all have gray uniforms.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he
He,
should have silver wings, but why is his costume silver? This is a team look. He's a beautiful figure though.
can I tell you, I don't like the wings.
You're crazy.
I think they're like mechanically they're much better, but I don't like how like sanitized they look. They're kind of like I like the chrome from.
Oh, well, good luck getting Hasbro to do Chrome. Have you seen Silver Surfer figures for the last decade?
Listen, it's a beautifully done thing. I have a blurred background, so you can't really, but you have him.
Listen, do you go back to the generations of X days? I think it was when they revealed the HasLab Sentinel, and I went, devoted half an episode to ranting and raving about a vac metal Silver Surfer. So I get it. I want things to be shiny and chrome like Mad Max, like for sure. But this is just kind of what we have to do. Everybody's complaining about the marbling on the new Julia, is it? Is it? It's not Julia Fox.
Who the fuck is Julia Fox?
Who is? Isn't that the some sort of influencer? No, but whoever is playing Julia Garner. I don't know. Whoever's playing the Silver Surfer, whoever's playing Shala Ball, the Marvel Legends figure of her. Everybody's complaining that she's like pearlescent.
Yeah, Julia Garner. You got it right.
Okay, and I'm like Julia Fox. Gosh,
your planet has been marked for death. I'm so excited for Fantastic Four.
I'm so fucking excited. But anyways, my point is we haven't gotten anything shiny and chrome out of Hasbro in a really long time. So I have realistic expectations, whereas you still think things are going to be the way they were.
Why? Stop being so awful to me. I can understand that things have changed, but like, listen, I like my old Archangel wings. The ones from, I keep saying it's a Rocket Raccoon. It's not the it's a Hit Monkey wave. In my head canon, for whatever reason, Rocket Raccoon, Gene, and Archangel were in the same wave. Archangel was Hit Monkey.
Whatever.
Okay. I fucking hate you. I'm like here, like you're like whatever. Like I want everyone to know at home how awful you are. But no, wait. But like, stop it. You're confusing me. It's all your fault because the best Archangel is a GameStop Archangel that came out for like whatever that initiative was, anniversary initiative. The GameStop Archangel with the Death Head and like the Warren Head.
Yes.
At the same time when Colossus and Havoc came out. Well, I'm just telling you, that was my favorite. No, because he got the new heads there too. GameStop art.
But the wings were the same. But so the best Archangel, like I like these wings. They would be better if they were shiny and chrome. But the only Archangel that Hasbro's ever given us that were like the shiny ones were the X-Force SDCC box set. By the time he came out on the single card, they were this dull silver, I think. And everybody was like so about it.
Hang on, I have to look at. I don't remember the conversation. I can't believe we're dedicating like 40 minutes to Archangel's wings.
Listen,
Uncanny.
you started it.
Listen, I have feels on this. What do you want me to say? And
oh my god, you have feels?
You can't search Uncanny X-Force Archangel because the new one comes up. Yeah, those are more chromy. I think. I don't have the figures here. I have them in Miami, but like they look the same from the GameStop exclusive. Like the Archangel in the Uncanny X-Force box set, those wings look kind of the same. I can't compare them IRL, so I don't know.
I don't know. I
don't like these wings. Stop it. Stop being awful to me. They're ugly ass wings. They're ugly ass wings.
Great. I'm glad you think so.
The technology is vastly better, though. It's vastly. They're cleaner. There's no arguing that they are a better design.
I think they are lovely. Lovely.
So one thing we did not talk about last week, and I think there's a lot of levity to it, was Peter David's passing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's any secret for anyone that has discussed X-Men with me over the years how highly I regard Peter David. His 90s X Factor is top 3 X-Men runs of all time for me. Of course, the X Factor Investigations is also, is a defining book of my, 20s. That was a book that was on stands, one of the ones I was in the early days of me being like a completionist, a Wednesday warrior. That was a book that I think both of us really looked forward to every single month.
It was so
So
good.
it's a big loss. It's a big loss. He also did Incredible Hulk and Young Justice. Peter David has had health issues for quite a while, so it's no huge surprise. But of course, it's still devastating. And I had donated to the GoFundMe for his medical bills, so I was getting regular updates from the family. The last update I think we got was that he was needing assistance breathing, but he was kind of out of the woods for like a greater health problem. And then the next thing we knew, he had passed away. So it's not a shock, but always a shock. And I personally am very, very upset about it.
I had met him at New York Comic Con, maybe two New York Comic Cons before I moved to Miami. And I sat down with him, and it's on Power of X-Men, but I was able to just do an interview, and we talked about Baby Sean. You
Mm-hmm.
know, that traumatizing scene where Jamie absorbs Baby Sean after Siren gives birth. And I don't know if you knew the back end of this, I'm sure you did, but he had to retcon Siren's pregnancy because they were doing the Messiah complex and Baby
Mm-hmm.
Hope. And he was so friendly. I knew he had health problems, and he really made it a point to talk to me. And he
Yeah.
told me, he even said something like, no, 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 come behind the booth and sit next to me. And he gave me his email address, and I was like, okay, well, we'll have him on the pod. That's great. And then I think a couple weeks later, something like that,
Yeah.
within that time frame, he got really sick. And so I
Yeah.
never had a chance to schedule him formally for us. But what a great guy. Space Cases, the television show, like
Yep.
was he the producer, creator, writer? I'm forgetting. I'm trying to look at his like,
I know. I mean, he was a writer for sure. I'm
yeah,
not entirely certain if he was the creator. He wrote a million Star Trek novels
yeah.
that some people
He was
consider some of
created.
the
He
best.
created Space Cases. Sorry.
Okay. People consider his Star Trek novels to be some of the best writing that Star Trek has ever had, and something that I think he gets a lot of credit for from me is, something that people love about the X-Men is the soap opera elements of it. And of all of the X-Men writers, he is one that leaned into that aspect the most. I mean, obviously the love triangle with multiple man Siren and Monet, then the pregnancy, then the dupe. I mean, the legendary issues. I mean, in both runs of his X Factor, where they went and they visited Doc Samson, and we got, in the original one, we got the really great, bit with Quicksilver, where he's so grumpy because imagine he lives his life like he's in like the slowest checkout lane ever, so he's just always so frustrated. And just little tiny little character details and beats and moments like that, he really understood how character driven and soapy the X books can be and should be. And there really hasn't been anything like his X Factor since it concluded over 10 years ago.
And his X Factor, I think it's lost to history, but after the decimation, after House of M, X Factor was the only book that really tackled the fallout
Yeah.
of House of M. I'm not saying like, because I know we had a couple here and there, but like it was the first ongoing book where Jamie's like, I'm going to investigate what happened.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Because no one knew publicly that it was Wanda. And he also, it was very groundbreaking because I remember this so like from CBR, where he finally confirmed the relationship between Richter and Shatterstar, and
Yep.
they kissed in one issue.
Yep.
And everyone on the message boards were so angry that they had them kissing. And it was like, it would not have happened had Peter David not finally tackled it head on. And so I'm devastated. I love that X Factor run. I
Yeah.
agree with you. There's nothing quite like it. His original X Factor was great as well. It is such a loss to our community here.
Yeah. I mean, he's the only person that could ever take something like the concept of Shatterstar being his own grandfather and make that actually work and make it an enjoyable thing to read. So he was a master of comic books, and it's a huge loss. And we're gonna, we'll always have. I'm like literally looking off camera at my X Factor by Peter David omnibus collection right now, and I'm like, I'm always gonna have those stories. And they're always going to be among my favorites. He's a huge reason that Havoc is one of my favorite X characters. So full credit to Peter David for that.
Well, he's probably the last person who actually wrote Havoc really well. I mean, I don't know what the fuck is wrong with people and how they don't know how to write Havoc. I was actually thinking about that. But wait, before we go on to Havoc tangent, I just want to point out that I think we both have this in common too. One of my favorite issues that Peter David ever wrote was the Nation X one, where
oh my god,
where the team and by the way, it's so contentious because people are like, oh, long shot, manipulated Dazzler, and it's like
such a bad faith reading of that. I have no other commentary on it except for that.
I agree. I mean, it's such a well done issue where these characters who hadn't come together in a long time are finally together, and we got more of those breadcrumbs with Bobby being in the closet. It is such a well done issue. I think what we should do like a spinoff and read that one because I think that issue is so enjoyable. And I agree with you. Like the thing with like Longshot and Dazzler is such a bad faith read of it. There is nothing. They have been in a consensual relationship for decades. When you run into an ex, you're both single and you're both horny, you're gonna hook up. That is just how it goes.
No manipulation required.
It is, and Dazzler is not like I don't know. She was not getting any story beats in the way that she should have. Like all you got from her at the time was just like, "Hey, I'm Allie," and then like the star crotch, which did not land well at the time.
At the time,
but to have someone respect her history and tackle the long shot, like romance, it was just nice to see. And I agree with you. He streamlined it very well with Shatterstar being his own grandpa. Like it's a really complicated mess, but he did it well. And towards the end of that run, he made sure to take care to do it. Sorry, I'm like that.
And by the way, that was a mess nobody had wanted to touch for over 20 years. Like when it was Jim Lee's last issue of X-Men, where Longshot is holding Allie's belly and going, "Oh, what do you think of the name Shatterstar?" Literally, there had been no follow-up on the Shatterstar angle of it. Like, yes, she sobbed to Jean about having a miscarriage, I guess, in Eve of Destruction, but no. Why is Shatterstar running around then? Thank you, Peter David, for finally explaining that.
I agreed. It's just one of those things. So we could go on, but like he was so great. And again, like he's probably now we can do a quick like little Havoc tangent here. It's probably the only last writer who wrote Havoc correctly. That's
I mean, listen, I'm gonna always advocate for Mutant X. It was a lot of fun. Maybe he wasn't written as consistently there, but I mean, there's nothing I can say but positive things about Peter David's Havoc in the 90s. Like that was when he finally came into his own, and like every writer since then has slowly but surely chipped away at the individual, character that Havoc had become under Peter David, and now he's just the questioning little brother again. So
I think that's so awful. Because I had high hopes when Remender took over for him, but again, the moment that Havoc was done was when he said, "Don't call me the M word," and I was like, "Oh, he's never been able to bounce back." But you know what? I think for Halloween month, we should read Mutant X. Like, just dedicate like the first like 10 or 4 issues, whatever we can like do, because like I think it's a fun book. People don't know it exists. I'm sorry. It's such a shame because like to me, it would be ludicrous that someone wouldn't know Mutant X, but it's been like 30 years, whatever the amount is since it's published, and it's so much fun. Like it's Madeline and Havoc together, and they have a child, and Elektra's a nanny. Like it's so good.
I just randomly read like 15 issues of it last weekend, so you don't have to twist my arm.
I've read it twice, and I keep forgetting. I'm sorry.
The Maddie part is a lot less of it than I think you remember. Like they wrap that shit up really quickly.
I'm remembering. Like, I have to. I remember the issue where she's like going through the fortress and like the goblins are coming for her. I'm forgetting. Like it's I agree with you. I do remember more of Maddie in it than she probably is because I've also tried to pull images of Maddie from there, and they're really hard to find a good, clean like shot of
Yeah,
Maddie that isn't
yeah,
the ones that we've already seen.
right.
Listen, let's tackle that. We'll put a pin in that, and we'll talk about it in October. But I
We'll
think everyone
we'll
should read it.
we'll put a pin in reading some Peter David, and we'll put a pin in reading Mutant X. Stay tuned for us reading '90s Havoc goodness.
Oh, poor Havoc. Anyways, Grant
Speaking
Morrison.
of goodness,
Yeah, Grant Morrison, new X-Men issue 121. Grant Morrison and who's back? Who's back?
well, according to this, it's Frank Quietly. Who's Frank Quietly?
I didn't even notice that. You're right. But that is such a nice little detail because this is the psychic rescue issue where no words are spoken, and it was part of an initiative Marvel had. Where was it? I think it was Nuff Said month.
It was either it was alternatively Nuff Said and called Silent Month. And for fans that don't know, this was still pretty early in Joe Quesada's tenure as editor in chief, and he was kind of the readers had lapsed. You and I, we weren't reading the books. People had lapsed. So he was trying all sorts of gimmicks to sort of reel readers in, and like this was one of them. It was like to make all of Marvel's key books silent for a month. There was like no crossover, no through line, just don't put any word balloons in your issue this month. And I, the whole time we've been doing this Morrison coverage, I've kind of been wondering how the hell we were going to cover this, but like now that I've done it, I have a million things to say about this issue.
I would love to hear what you have to say about this issue because like I was trying to be analytical about it, and I think this issue is great, but I think this is Morrison at their most Morrison-y, which is there's a lot of deep symbolism and a lot of cues that are very cerebral. Not that I would ever not want that out of my comic, but a lot of it sort of goes over my head, and even till this day, I still have trouble like fully absorbing it. But why don't we dive into it?
Let's do it.
Scott, Wolverine, and Jean meet Emma, and Emma's waiting for them. Jean gives a kiss to Scott, and she joins Emma in a psychic rescue for Xavier. But before they enter Xavier's mind, Emma pulls out a flask, takes a swig of it, and then they enter Xavier's mind.
So yes, there's three things that I need to mention in this opening sequence. Let's make it four. Let's make it four. First off, Frank Quietly, so glad you're back. This is incredible. This is one of the best drawn issues of the entire series. And one of the reasons for that is both Jean and Emma have these fucking amazing updos. We don't have enough Emma Frost with killer updos, and this is good. Jean's got her iconic pony. They just look fucking great. Second, I think this is the first and only time, the first panel on this grid of six, I think is the first and only time we see the back of Emma's sexy diaper costume, because usually it's hidden by a coat or her super long hair. So it's kind of is always interesting to me to like see how this works. And then yeah, finally you said it. This panel of Emma with the flask is easily one of the most iconic Emma panels of all time. One of my personal favorite comic panels of all time. There's another of my all-time favorites later in the issue, but this one is pretty fucking incredible.
I mean, it's just such an Emma thing to do where it's like, oh, darling, let's do it. You know what I mean? And I still, till this day, when I want to be funny, like if something bad's about to happen or I have to do something big, I'll take a sip of a drink and I will envision the scene of Emma. I'm glad you mentioned that part about the sexy diaper back, because now you can sort of see how it works. It's almost like she puts it on like a vest and then she's holding tape or her latent telekinetic powers, however you want to say it. But I really like kudos on quietly because like or quietly because like that's how she would have put it on. I really do appreciate that. You know, quietly and we've said this before is such a master of body language. And
Yes.
Jean giving the kiss to Cyclops and Cyclops kind of like just being apathetic to it. We know in the last issue, Jean had said that she had some negative feelings about Scott and they're gone now. So it makes sense that she would be a little bit more affectionate because she's
Yeah.
still on that Phoenix high, but he's not. He's going through it right now. You know, the what happened with Apocalypse has really significantly impacted him, and we're gonna see more of it as it goes by. But great opening pages. I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
it looks great.
it looks amazing. And you pointing out Cyclops' body language, like, yeah, you can tell he's in the first panel on that page where she gives him the kiss and then shushes him. She's approaching him from behind, and he is looking at Emma, and he is holding his hands behind his back, probably kind of fidgeting. You can tell that there's some uncomfortable
Yeah.
feelings happening here with Cyclops. That's a good observation.
I mean, listen, we've been reading this issue like like at least once every year for the last like 25 years. But I yeah, so they're going into Cassandra Nova's mind because Xavier's in it.
Yeah, and we have this like epic we have two splash pages in a row, and the first one is like this really cool like Fibonacci spiral into Xavier's consciousness, where Jean is sort of circling around down into his brain further and further. And then the next one, she emerges at the bottom of this spiral, and there is a tower in the distance, and she is emerging. It has a moat, like a pink moat, and some green clouds, and she's emerging from a staircase that has some doors with Cassandra Nova's face on them. And it's, again, the details here are beautiful. I'm sure there is like some real symbolism here. But I really, it's lost on me if this is supposed to be referencing something specific. So
I thought the same thing. That's what I was having issues with, which is like the Citadel and like the green clouds. What is he being inspired by here? And like I again like Frank Quitely being he like who like what was his reference? And I was thinking, what was that movie with like Robin Williams? Hang on. Oh, it's What Dreams May
what
Come.
dreams may come.
Yeah, the Vincent Ward movie. I was thinking like was he inspired by sort of this fantastical like landscape? This would be a couple years afterwards, but
Yeah.
it's just gorgeous and it's epic. And listen, Familia, if you guys know, if you guys understand what some of these symbolisms are, like please slide into our DMs. You know who I miss? I don't know if you ever got to speak to him, Geeky JP. Geeky
Yeah.
JP could like hyper analyze every single thing and give the historical context for it. And I'm like, this is where we need Geeky JP to weigh in.
But I do have a couple of things back on the spiral page. Like I said, I love it. It's beautiful. It's so well rendered. There's so many details, endless Xavier emotions, and Jean literally spiraling down. The first thing I want to say is her platform boots are sickening.
No.
This is the best look we have gotten at her footwear, and it's amazing.
I
But
know.
where is Emma?
Well, I
is
thought
Emma
that too.
not a part
Why
of
isn't
it?
him? I guess Emma came afterwards. That's the only thing
I
I can think of.
guess.
Emma,
I guess.
Emma took a different route. Emma's like, no, darling, I'm not doing it. Maybe Emma was not theatrical. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like Jean would do this whole big thing to go into someone's mind, and then Emma would just be there, being like, "Yeah, I've been waiting for you. Thanks for showing up." But I agree with you.
Thanks for showing.
By the way, did you ever wear platform boots?
I
At
did.
all?
I
I
still
did.
have some. I have some leopard print platform boots.
I had like the gothic knee high boots, like you had to like strap them in or tie them up.
Stompers.
Yeah, I love those. I miss that fashion.
I mean, it still exists. The goth kids are out there. You just have to be bold enough to embrace the goth.
I mean, it's funny. My brother infamously wore platforms for a long time. He doesn't do that anymore. I try to see like the kids wearing, like I guess I do see it. Anyways, um, Yeah, so Jean is there and Emma arrives and we have some symbols around here. And do you understand like the symbols? It's like
Yeah.
a question
Yeah.
mark, face. Good. Explain them.
Okay,
Explain them.
so the first panel, I think Jean is, asking, should I go alone? And then Emma is like, no, the two of us need to go. And then Emma looks at the Cassandra Nova face store and she's like, what is this? Just so, and it's her like unamused face with a question mark. And so she's like asking Jean, unamused, like, what is this? And then Jean approaches it and it's a question mark. And then the door attacks, and then the next panel has Emma with like kind of a smug smiley face with an exclamation point. So she's, amused, but Jean still has her sights set on the tower. So the next panel is Emma pointing, and then there's a little emoji of the tower with a question mark, and then Jean has a check mark. So it's like, to the tower, Emma asks, and then Jean says yes. But the only one that I'm not sure of is this last panel that is question mark to cross question mark. I'm not exactly sure what that means. I think it maybe is asking if they should go together.
First of all,
I'm not sure.
I have to tell you, my heart kind of warms because I agree. First of all, I 100% agree with everything you have just said, how you described it. But I love that Emma's like, should we go together? Like,
Yeah.
I love that, and that Emma is sort of like, I see the faces on the door, the Cassandra Nova, as like the defense mechanisms,
Yep.
of Cassandra Nova, and so Emma stays behind because Jean is going to go explore, and the Cassandra Nova attacks Emma, and like Emma again gets blasted, and she's naked, and she's just so incredibly unimpressed by it. She's like, oh, and then attacks the door. It's really well done, and thank you for framing that. For again, after 25 years, you learn something new when you're reading these things, especially when you read it with someone else.
And what I love about these pages is when Emma switches into her diamond form, there's a little diamond emoji with a gleam coming off of it. There was a time in my life I was planning to get that as a tattoo. I don't
Oh,
know. Maybe I
really?
still should. I'm going to think about that. But in the
It's
next
a nice
panel,
one.
it is. It's good. If you're gonna get an Emma Frost, like a really simple Emma Frost tattoo, that you can't get any better than that. But the next panel where she attacks the door back, I love because her costume is reconstituting, like actively reconstituting on her body. And then in the next three panels, Jean is sort of creating she's creating a bridge over the Pepto Bismol moat to get to the tower, and her hair just gets more flowy and flowy before it eventually goes into a lovely phoenix hair detail. So just like the literal fluidity of these pages with Emma's costume reconstituting and Jean's hair being just wild and lovely, there's just so much fluidity and beauty in these pages. I just, it's, even if I don't catch all of the symbolism and understand, like, maybe there's some deeper things happening here, it's beautiful enough and I can follow the story enough to really, really appreciate it.
And there's like this Wizard of Oz sort of symbolism happening here where Gina's walking down the bricked road to the Citadel where presumably Xavier's at. And it attacks her and the road breaks and she starts falling. And it's so well done. And Emma is still left behind with the Cassandra Nova face. And she sticks her tongue. This Emma sticking her tongue. Holy
Okay.
shit. Give me your
So
feels on that. Is this your
this
favorite
is
panel?
this is the second
Oh,
legendary Emma panel that I mentioned earlier. I mean, Emma likes to portray herself as just this perfect, unbothered queen, and just so this image of her sticking her tongue out at her rival failing and falling into the Pepto-Bismol moat is just so good. It is so, so good, especially because she has been really struggling with these doors. So of course, and Jean, the sacred cow is just bypassing all of the defenses and managing to get closer than Emma does. So of course she's going to be a little petty about it, and I think it's just great. I think this is one of my favorite Emma issues for sure. Just the way she emotes throughout is just perfect.
Well, because I agree with you. Like Emma knows when she's been beaten, right? And Emma's not going to be like I wouldn't call it petty. She's funny. She's like, "Nah," you know what I mean? Like it's such
Yeah,
an
yeah,
Emma thing to do, but it's so within her personality. It's exactly how you just said it, and you're right. And it's so funny. Again, reading this with you, it opens up my perspective a lot on the Jean Emma relationship here because you're right. I always read it as Emma stayed behind to hold these Cassandra Nova um, faces and defenses at bay. But you're right. She can't get past it. Jean can
yeah,
just walk away. Emma is being caught up in it. And that talks to their power level. That talks to their rivalry and all of this that's going to be playing out throughout
yeah.
the course of New X-Men. And again, Morrison, they are so brilliant planting the seeds right here so subtly. You're right.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
it's great. It's great. So Emma is detained after Jean falls into the Pepto. Emma is sort of detained by some green goopy vomit, and Jean crawls out of the moat. And reaches the tower. There are a bunch of letters around here, and I don't know if it's supposed to spell anything, but it looks like it almost could spell Gene, but I don't see like there's a big J, a big E, and a
Yeah.
big N, but I don't see an A. So I'm
Yeah.
probably just looking for something here. But she
Yeah.
blows off the doors. She walks up the stairs into the tower, and there is Charles Xavier chained to the floor with a giant brain and all sorts of things floating around him. And specifically, there's a lot of references to Charles's disability here. There's a lot of shoes, a twisted spine, there's leg braces, crutches, and then like surrounding his brain, it looks like his wheelchair components deconstructed are swirling around him. And I didn't notice any of that until I read it today.
I
So
didn't notice, it's so funny. I didn't notice that it was, in fact, his chair. And I didn't notice his spine either. Again, like, I am blown away. Again, this is a story that I have read for 25 years and discussing it with you. Again, it is like, it's mind blowing the things that you're pointing out because it's stuff that I had never seen. And you're right. It's almost like like Cassandra Nova is weaponizing these things against him to keep him
yeah,
imprisoned. And
yeah,
even like on the walls, it's like, are like drawings, like child drawings of Xavier's parents
yeah.
and the mom being pregnant. I'm forgetting what mom's name is. What is Mama Xavier's name?
I we can find out. Let's see. Let's
Charles
see.
Xavier mother. Sharon. Sharon.
Sharon.
There you
Sharon.
go.
What?
Sharon Xavier Marco. Sharon, you silly bitch. Where are you at these days? What
What are you
happened to
doing,
Sharon?
Sharon? I'm surprised they haven't brought her back.
She's only had 6 appearances according to the Marvel fandom wiki.
Well, that makes
Wow.
sense.
I mean, like, I don't know. She's so. Do you remember her in First Class? That was
I
hysterical
do.
when she was. But then it turned out to be Mystique. Loved it.
Yeah.
My mother has never made me milk. It's like, oh, Xavier. I'm sorry to hear that, Xavier.
So sorry.
So sorry. So this is probably my favorite part of the issue. It's kind of gross. It's kind of cinematic. It is inventive. It is surrealism at its best. Where in front of Xavier, oh, it's not a snow globe that's in front of Xavier. It's actually a little embryo that's
Mm-hmm.
in. Sorry. Okay, so there's a little embryo in front of Xavier, but then the next page, Jean is holding a snow globe of Sharon and Xavier's dad, and the snow globe starts to zoom in, but the actual snow is sperm, and it's traveling, and Jean goes in to travel with it as it inseminates an egg, and 2 embryos come from it, and they grow, and one of the embryos, when they're kids, starts attacking the other one, and the one that's being choked with the umbilical cord unleashes a psychic power that's so great that Sharon falls backwards down on the steps.
So my first question here is this the first time we've seen sperm in an X-Men comic? I mean, listen, it is so you said it. This is one of the most unique, interesting scenes we have ever seen
Yeah.
in an X-Men comic. And it is just so the detail across all of these, it's all grid panels. It walks us through fertilization and the cells splitting off into two and then developing into two fetuses. And then, yeah, because the Cassandra Nova fetus gains, sentience. She wakes up and immediately starts punching and trying to choke out Charles, who blasts her with his latent telepathy. And listen, from my perspective, it was self-defense. Charles did what he had to do. I do not hold it against him. That bitch tried to
came for
him out with the umbilical cord.
Like, what? Fuck that! And Charles is just there asleep, and she's like coming at him with the umbilical cord. Like, come on, girl. Yeah. And this also like solidifies that Cassandra Nova was physically on this earth at one point. Later on, we'll get more of an explanation to her origins, and we'll cover that when we get there. But I believe, was it 10 Lives and 10 Deaths of Wolverine, where they actually show the birth, and Cassandra Nova is stillborn. And I can't remember if they mention it here. I guess we'll figure it out in a couple issues. But if she was actually stillborn birth. But because, like, what happens here, it's like when Sharon falls down she falls backwards down the steps. I mean, like, that to me would be like you're going to the emergency room, emergency delivery. Like, this is an aggressive fall. But, we'll see where everything lands, how they talk about the continuity. But, yeah, I would love to have read this high. Like, I wish I'd smoked weed, because, like, can you imagine, like, when in college, like, you're high as fuck in your dorm and you're reading this shit and you're like, what the fuck is this? Like, for the first time.
Definitely couldn't imagine that.
Well, I definitely
not imagine that in the least. That is such a stretch.
But, like, but, like, I just, like, it is, like, this is a trippy ass scene. You're a snow globe with sperm, and then two babies fighting themselves in the womb. Like,
it's just crazy. It's just crazy.
So, and, like, well done. So well done.
So well done. And after Mama Xavier, falls back down the stairs, the snow globe in Jean's hands begins to sort of transform a little bit, and she throws it aside. And she goes to Xavier, who's crumbling under the weight of his own power here, with his huge, huge head that he's struggling to hold up. And she just, like, I don't know, releases him, kind of. It doesn't really show what happens, but she approaches him, she kneels down, she kind of touches him, and then the tower crumbles, and there's Jean just hovering. And I don't need to know exactly what she does. All we need to know is that she apparently set Xavier free. It's it's another cool, detailed sequence. I really honestly can't remember. I'm sure I read, if Extreme X-Men had a silent issue, I read it. It doesn't stand out to me at all. I don't remember any of the other silent issues that I have read. This is the one that really, Quietly and Morrison are really the only ones that I can remember reading that made good use of this concept.
Yeah, there's no disrespect. We've talked about how much we do like Extreme X-Men, but no disrespect to any of the other writers. Morrison and Quietly are the ones who got it. And did it very well. I'm trying to see. It was Extreme X-Men issue 8. I don't even think it was a complete silent issue. Like, I think a lot of the writers did struggle with this.
Right.
Because I think this one, like, let me see. I'm gonna look up Extreme X-Men really quickly because I am curious because Claremont with Extreme X-Men overwrote for being such a really fun.
No.
I know. I'll never forget some of the. Yeah, there's. Let's see. I'm looking through it right now. No, actually, you know what? Good on. Good. No, it is a silent issue, but it's a silent issue in that it would call for people to be talking like they're all fighting. Like
Right.
I feel that like what they did here basically with Extreme X-Men was just do it as normal, but just remove the words. That's
Yeah.
it.
I mean,
Like they didn't bake it into the story in the way that Morrison did, which was like this is a psychic rescue. Emma and Jean need full concentration. Everyone needs to be quiet.
yeah. Yeah.
Bueno,
But we
yeah.
haven't even reached the end of the issue yet.
I know.
By
Wait,
the
I have to
way,
go back to it.
Gene deconstructing the tower and hovering is not the end of the issue. We still have to check in on Emma. Where's Emma? Has she made it very far?
Emma has like her boot, caught by the Cassandra Nova monster face, and Jean comes up. And by the way, cunty Jean. This is Jean at her cuntiest. Hello, Emma. Thanks for the help. It's kind of spelled out in the slime that's coming from the face. I. What do you want me to say? This is perfect. Like it's
It
just
is perfect.
again the rivalry because like, you know what? Emma couldn't keep up with Jean. I'm sorry to say, and Jean is being a cunt about it. She is totally
Well, of course
being
she
like
is.
she is being a bitch, but like this is good Jean. Jean is
It
like
is. This is the bad. The thing is playing into their rivalry. It always is a win for me. Writing them as outright hostile to each other is never ever the way to go. It is just kind of they respect each other, but they dislike each other. So it's just like a shade off at all
agreed,
times.
agreed.
And I think that this is a perfect encapsulation of that. I love this exchange right here.
We the Emma Jean dynamic is never better than this exchange right here. And especially with how you framed it, I will dare say if you want to understand the Emma Jean rivalry, it's all in this issue. It's
100%.
all there. Again, this is stuff that has evaded me for 2 decades. But then this is great because I don't know what happens. I guess Jean saves the day. Basically, the slime, she's able to stop the Cassandra Nova monster, absorb the slime, spells out, "Hello, Emma. Thanks for the help." And then Emma kicks the face.
Okay, but one more thing before we move on
Yeah.
from the slime.
What?
I don't mean to be 12 years old, but after the other artists snuck sex all over issue 118, I'm kind of looking for hidden things now.
Yeah.
And 100% the green slime in the close up on Emma's face is spelling the word penis.
Oh my God, you are right. No, you're not being 12 years old. You're absolutely saying that. There's the P, there's the E, there's the where's the I?
It's
don't
behind
see
her head.
Oh yeah.
So it's like not in order, but the only letters in that frame are PENIS.
Yeah, and that's kind of and the shot is of Emma's face looking surprised with the slime all over her.
Which, by the way, I'd never noticed this until this read either. So yes, Emma's face has slime all over it, and the word penis. Like, okay, quietly, we're on to you.
Her lips are really small in this, so like that's weird. Like it's a weird
Weird
shot.
panel.
I mean, for like the next shots, Emma looks fantastic. Yeah, like and like her mouth is open, and the next one, yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right on that. Wow, bueno,
Penis.
there you go. There, but you know what? I don't know. Like again, we'll never talk to the other artists, so I don't know. Maybe Morrison we could have. There's just so much debate on like the origin of this, and I like to think that Morrison instructed anyone working on the books that the art should be a reflection of some of the tension going on, and that's why there's a lot of sexual tension, especially in the context of Scott and Emma, the lack of sex with Jean and Scott. So I like to think that perhaps this is all planned out, but when we get Morrison on the podcast,
We're manifesting it
We're
when we get
manifesting.
Morrison.
But it's only because, as we mentioned last issue, Morrison does not see the artist as just the artist. They are co-storytellers.
Yep.
And
that
I
is
love
how
it.
this is billed.
So, I do think everything, even with the art, is deliberate because I just think Morrison was that good. But
Yeah.
anyways, so I love that Emma kicks the face and has a satisfying grin. And then Emma and Jean walk on like the shore, and Xavier is there, and Jean comforts him. And then we go to the real world where the silence sign turns off, and Logan and Cyclops are waiting, and Jean and Emma come out, and Jean finally speaks for the last page, and she says Professor X tried to kill his twin sister while they were both still in the womb. We ought to talk. ...
Mic drop.
Drop.
That is an amazing. I mean, even though all of that was spelled out in the art throughout the issue, to have it laid out like that as a cliffhanger, and we ought to talk, like that is an amazing for not being like the middle of a battle. That is one of the most amazing cliffhangers I think I've seen in an X book for sure.
One of my favorite panels is right here, and it is Cyclops listening to an iPod and just like hunched over. And
yes.
I gotta tell you, like, again, this is like seeing the X-Men as the camera's not picking up. You know what we're both looking at it.
Yeah.
But it's the X-Men as everyday people. Like Cyclops is just listening to his iPod. Like, again, this is just stuff like it was very modern, and it's stuff that's just wasn't done at that point. Yeah. I mean, that's not fair to say wasn't done, but like the X-Men just felt very fresh. And I think this panel encapsulates that.
So I just really have to say, and this is sorry for being thirsty, but Scott and Logan look so hot in this scene. Like Scott's shirt is barely long enough to cover his torso, and Wolverine is wearing like a black leather cross between a singlet and overalls. They both look very hot. I'm sorry.
And by the way, again, this is like Morrison has such an understanding of these characters. Like Scott is listening to music, and Wolverine is reading presumably something, philosophical or a proverb or whatever, like a little book. That is just so, I don't know. It's these little attention to details that Morrison and Quitely just understand these characters so well. And again, without saying who they are, but showing us who they are. I just love that dichotomy. I will say though, listen, we love Morrison. I'm not one to criticize Morrison's writing, but I will just say I feel Morrison got it wrong. Professor X didn't try to kill his twin sister. His twin sister tried to kill him. Just fair. I am pushing back on this like Xavier's a jerk thing, because like again, he didn't try to kill Cassandra Nova. She attacked him.
Self-defense. It was self-defense. 100%.
He's a baby. Like she's strangling him with the umbilical cord. Like, you gotta defend yourself. This is literally the match. You're not gonna be born if she wins. And like, why would she do that? Why Cassandra Nova? Why are you attacking your brother?
She is the personification of pure evil.
Well, fine, but like, damn it, like, fuck. Anyways, with the exception of that, listen, I don't even think I could rate this issue.
It's off the scale.
It's off the scale. This is it. This is required reading. For anyone who is an X fan, required reading.
And what I really need is for anyone, still hung up on the Krakoan era and wants for anyone who's hung up on the Krakoan era, who has read the Russell Dauterman and Jonathan Hickman silent issue that literally panel for panel recreates this, I want to make sure that anybody who has read that issue goes back and does their homework and reads this issue, because you can't have read the new one without knowing what it is homaging so explicitly. So I encourage everyone, and in fact, actually, I do believe that it's been a while now. But I do believe the last time we had trivia was
I
with
know where you're
Hammy,
going with
and I
this. Yeah.
won. I won that trivia.
You know what? I listened to that episode, and I'm going to disagree. I think I won, or it was
Well,
a tie.
Hammy told me I won, so take it up with Hammy.
That bitch can't count. You know that.
I know he's so pretty though.
I know.
Okay, but what I'm saying
Hammy's
is
always right. Hashtag Hammy is right.
Hammy's always right. So because I get to pick something for us to read, I want us to revisit the Russell Dodderman Hickman silent issue, and we'll just do it as a quick little touch base so that we can compare it while this is fresh in our minds.
Okay.
But again, so we're coming back to trivia. Next time we will have read the Hickman silent issue. We'll compare it to this. We obviously know this is going to be better, but just for fun, I think we should do it.
I 100% am going to back you on that, but I'm going to tell you something that is going to be like 45 minutes because I got feels on that issue.
Oh God,
like, especially in the
mind.
context. And it was that came out what 2021 or 2020?
2021, yeah. I think that was 2020. It was 2020 because I bought it in a comic book store in Arkansas when I was on vacation the week before the world shut down.
Okay. Yeah. I do
Not to be too specific.
No, it was at the onset of the right before the pandemic. And the Krakoan age. Yeah. I'm down. Let's do that. Let's read it next week and then you can do some trivia. But okay. Well, listen. Perfect issue. I do want it I'm trying to be critical of Morrison because I think I have been we have been like, this is great, this is perfect, and I want to see if there's any flaws in Morrison's structure here, but I have to tell you objectively, I'm coming at this with all cylinders fired. It's perfect. It's sorry perfect. It's perfect. It's even if people don't like the decision of what's going on with Jean and Scott, right? That's one of the big things that people don't like. You cannot say that Morrison isn't planting the narrative seeds here, And by the way, and unfortunately, and this is something that I think a lot of people struggle with, these characters can't always be happy. These are stories. You have to tell stories, and things need to happen. And if not, you just get something like garbage, and just like that. So,
Can you imagine? Can you imagine if the characters didn't go through these dramatic scenarios and interpersonal bullshit? This is what we read the X-Men for. What are you doing here?
Again, I think it's always within someone's right not to like something, but you can't deny that thought and precision and talent was put into it. And so again, it's just so well done. The Jean Emma dynamic here, it's so smart. It's not two girls fighting over a guy. Scott is irrelevant to this. Jean and Emma have an ego problem with each other, and it's amazing. And Jean, Miss Perfect, is a cunt to Emma, and it is brilliant.
It's amazing.
It's just brilliant. And it's fun to read, and it's those moments with quietly, like you said, with Emma sticking the tongue, being so petty, but funny petty. I don't know. It's just, anyways.
I know, and Emma with the flask, come on, Emma with the flask. Jean is giving the thumbs up, let's go, and Emma's hold on, let me take a sip. It's just, I think their relationship has never been better than it is right here, for sure.
Emma's playing it up for the reader. I'm gonna have a working theory here that Emma is aware she's in a comic book and being watched, and Emma is just playing it up for the reader because Emma is just, everything she does is brilliant. And by the way, that final panel too, Emma holding the door as if she's closing it. It's so well done. You can just see that. You can just see that person coming out and closing the door behind them. No notes. I am not equipped. Zero. I am not equipped to ever give Morrison feedback, especially on this issue. It's brilliant. Took bold swings. Again, the sperm. I'm sorry. I know I'm now it's becoming circular, but such bold swings with the sperm, with everything. and accomplishing so much without saying a word.
Absolutely. And if we're talking about, being able to convey the story without saying a word, and we're giving, Frank quietly all of his flowers, we also, once again, we have to give Hi-Fi Design, who did the colors here. We have to give them amazing praise, because even something as simple as, on the opening page, the title page, the glare coming off of the
I was about to say that. Get out of my mind, Emma.
I'm sorry. Gene and Emma here. The reflection of the water, just Emma's diamond form, the scenes with, the fertilization of the eggs. It has like this kind of like zipatone texture feel to it. It's just, this issue succeeds so much. I mean, like the Xavier's power signature coming out of his mother's pregnant belly. Like, there's just so many little coloring details here that really matter and help make the story. Like, just look how shiny their leather is on this last page. Just the way the light is reflecting off of their skin. It's just beautiful. Beautiful.
The neon glow. They have mastered lighting.
Yes.
In comic books, like when they enter the room where Cassandra Nova's body is at, like the screens are on, even like the silence sign with the glow. You don't see that in modern comics. No shade to anyone. It's just, you don't see this level of detail. And like when they're about to go into Cassandra's mind, like, and the powers are manifest, like, it's so good.
And just so like the way, like, you look at them outside of the room and inside of the room, just the shifts, like the lighting source changes from like the hall lighting to like this iridescent green from the monitors. So naturally their skin tones change, their costume colors change. Like, it's just the attention to detail here with the lighting and the coloring is phenomenal. Like you said, we never saw it before, and we haven't really seen a whole lot of it since.
So I found Hi-Fi color on X, and Brian Miller. Yeah, I'm gonna send them a note. Because contact Hi-Fi right here. Yes. They're coming. Mark it here. I don't care what we need to do. We need to have them. We need to have this Brian Miller. This Brian Miller we need here. Yeah, I don't think I have anything else.
No, it's incredible. This is if you, Familia, if you only read one issue of New X-Men, I think that it would be this one. Honestly, I mean, there might be ones I enjoyed better. Murder at the Mansion specifically holds a lot of nostalgia. Murder at the Mansion and Beyond holds a lot of nostalgia for me, but this, you can't deny that if there is a run-defining issue for Grant Morrison and Frank Quitely, it is probably this right here.
All right, so next week we will pick up with the Hickman, the giant size. Is it Emma Frost and Jean Grey, or Jean Grey and Emma Frost?
I mean, it's probably Jean Grey and Emma Frost, but I'm going to call it Emma Frost and Jean Grey.
I have a lot of feels on that, so I'm just giving you the heads up. So I'm like, get ready for that.
God, what have I done? I shouldn't have done this.
But it's fine. We'll go into it. And then we'll do issue 122.
It's
next.
The beginning of Imperial.
Yeah. So it's pretty big stuff, and Quitely's still there. So it's all really fun. We're going to really get into it. Like, I think Morrison has been building up, but now it's going to get action-paced with
right.
The next
There's been a lot of setup, and this is where it's really, really... Not to say that E is for Extinction. A lot didn't happen. But since then, it's kind of all been built. It opened with a bang, and it has been building to the second bang, and that is Imperial. It's coming.
All right, Familia, I'm the Uncanny Dayspring. You can hit me up at Power of X-Men.
I'm the new Flinkman. You can hit me up at Flinkman and see me on at Heritage Comics.
And we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.